The House Ways and Means Committee today began the markup of the tax reform legislation. There are now discussions on the inclusion of a provision to repeal the individual mandate in Obamacare as well. The president has been very interested in doing so. We're also watching for any fixes on state and local taxes to court the votes of New Jersey and New York Republicans, a contentious and controversial issue. Joining me now, Congressman Dave Brat, a member of the Freedom Caucus. He also serves on the House Budget Committee. He was also an economist. I guess you're still a recovering economist.
I'm trying.
Congressman, good to have you with us.
Thank you, Lou.
We're already farther than many people thought possible.
Yep.
You're in markup in the House Ways and Means Committee. You're also looking at the prospect of, I don't know how many brackets. I've lost track. I can't tell if it's 3, 4, 5. Is there something waiting in the wings? What's your, let me take your temperature on this.
Yeah.
Do you think you're going to be able to get this thing through and make it a piece of law that will truly be a middle-class tax cut and do everything that the president, or most things that the president has promised?
Yeah, I do in bulk. The average family income in Virginia is about $60,000. They're going to get $1,200. The one piece, you just mentioned a couple of the key pieces. The one piece we probably got some work to do on is the S-Corp, small business. Most folks weren't familiar with this 70-30 provision where they move down to a 25% tax rate, right? Corporations go down to 20, small business down to 25. But they can only write off 30% of their business expenses, not 70% of compensation. And so some of the folks, you know, lawyers, doctors' offices that run small business without much capital intensity, they don't get as much relief.
Yeah,
but, they're still going to get the individual relief.
I think the problem here is, Congressman, they probably think they're working just as hard as other people and ought to get the full benefit of a tax cut, just like everybody else. Right.
And that's the point I want to get at. The people that are frustrated out there, just so you take the angst out in the right place, we're writing it to $1.5 trillion deficit in the Senate because of stupid Senate rules and the stupid rules we operate up under here. If you want more tax cuts...
Well, I'm just proud you all are following some kind of rules.
Yeah, no, I know, barely. But if you want real tax cuts, spending is the swamp up here, right? We have not been willing to get at spending. Some of us have 100 scores on all that, dealing with spending, fighting the budget fight every year. But that's the reason... Right, we can only write it to $1.5 trillion deficit. There's only so much money to work with, so people are going to be frustrated. They want to see huge numbers, right? They want to see big checks coming back to them from the federal government. They'll be moderate size. They'll be good. The middle class, corporate, small business.
Here's a problem for you, Congressman. You're talking about capping state and local taxes. You're talking about capping mortgage interest deductions. Very specific numbers, 10,000 on mortgages. Everybody knows what the deductions were for their state and local taxes. They can calculate pretty much. Those are understandable numbers. People can't get a hold of, well, if you're going to cut the corporate tax down to 20%, why can't you tell the middle class, working men and women, and American middle class families what they're going to get? This is, after all, declares the president, a middle class tax cut. And $1,200 doesn't sound like a 40% cut like you're giving corporate America.
Well, we've got the brackets. They're pretty good. Up to 12%, up to $90,000 for family of four. Up to 25%, up to $260,000. Right? So you've just dealt with the middle class easily. All that money, right? Some people may not understand how the tax system works. But
well, they're a hell of a lot smarter than you're getting swampified, by the way. You're getting swampified when you talk down to the American people, Congressman. No. This audience is very damn smart, and they know when they're fed a line of bull, and because they've had a diet of it.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. What I'm trying to say is many people don't know from 0 to 90, you're paying 12% under this thing. Some people think you're just paying the rate you're in, the 35% rate. You're paying 25% all the way up through $260,000. So you're paying 12% and then 25% and then 35% only on the extra income over $260,000.
Right.
And so that's not simple math, right? We should have a calculator developed already that's out online,
so everyone can. That's what I just said to you.
Yep.
People need to understand why you know exactly what you're going to give corporate America.
Right. Yep.
Because they spend a lot of money there on Capitol
I'm
Hill to
with
make
you
sure
on
that the
part.
numbers are simple and straightforward and clear.
Yep.
The middle class and working folks, small business people, you know, they don't spend enough money there to really get a clear, straightforward answer like you give corporate America. And you guys need to change that, in my humble opinion, before you come out of the markup and move ahead.
Yeah, I think we're going to do it. And so people are clear on the home mortgage deduction, too. That's capped at $500,000, but anyone in it, no matter what your house is, if you're in it, you're safe, you're grandfathered. It's $500,000.
Lord, I got to tell you, when you got to tell the American people they're safe in their own damn homes,
right?
You're not doing good, Congressman. You're not doing good. And by you, I don't mean you individually.
Yeah, I know what you're getting at, but this, let me tell the folks before I leave. This side of the aisle is doing much better than the other. The other put in a budget that raised taxes by $10 trillion. We're lowering taxes. And in a running race, all you got to do is beat the slower runner behind you. They're behind us. They raised spending $11 trillion, right? So half the aisle wants that. So it makes it very hard. We got to be about 100% right on every single thing. If we lose anybody in the Senate, right? If we lose two,
the thing you got to do is be honest and clear.
I agree with you.
And talk to the American people. The middle class, working people, small business, because that's where the damn jobs are, and that's where the folks are who work in those jobs.
Yeah, well, that's my whole district.
And if you're ignoring them this early in the process, what the hell's going to happen when you get to conference?
Yep, I don't think we're ignoring them, Lou. The middle class, everybody in the middle, everyone in the middle class will get a tax cut, right? That's a fact right now. We got ways and means to score that thing. Everyone in the middle class, if you're 60,000.
My point is, Congressman, they don't know how much it is because you can't tell them. And a clear, simple, direct, concise way that you're telling the CEOs and the CFOs and the shareholders of corporate America.
Yeah, well,
and
let me
that's
just
a doggone shame.
Well, let me be clear on that. The individual
side
has.
That's what I'm asking for.
They have all the rates are as clear as crystal could be. The corporate side is 20. We have our rates on the individual side starting at 12. But what is hard on the
let's you come back in a week, and let's talk about crystal clear. We'll just start at the crystal clear, and we'll go through the clarity that you are.
The individual side has all these write-offs, Lou. That's the hard part. I can't explain that in 5 seconds. That's a tough one.
Well, you know what? You got a week to get ready.
All right, I'll get ready for you.
Try to do.
It'll be a machine gun next week for you.
Let's go get them.
All right,
a lightning round right here on Lou.
Good, let's do it. I'm ready.
Congressman, thanks so much. Congressman
Thank you,
Dave Brat. Thank you, sir.